Mental clarity and productivity are hot topics these days. No wonder. As our lives have sped up and we've got access to more information than ever before, naturally we think more too, whether we realize it or not. Try writing down every single thought that goes through your mind when you want to sit down in silence for only 1 minute. Oh, I need to get bread later. The way I picked up those carrots in the shop last week. Damn. I'm sure I offended the shop assistant. Where did they put the receipt? What was the word for spring in Latin? Vera? Something like that. This time last year I was traveling. God, I wish I could go somewhere. Where would I go? Greece? Slovenia maybe. That funding application I was supposed to send. Oh shit. But hey, thinking is not a bad thing. It's just about how you manage your thoughts to stop them from becoming overwhelming. It's good to feel like you're in control of your own brain, at least to some extent. And this is the reason why there are so many different tools and methods that help declutter your mind and organize your thoughts. So which method is the most effective to help you reach that mental clarity that you want? I'm not going to tell you that the one I'm about to present is the best of the best, because that doesn't exist. The best method for you is the one that works for you. This unfortunately does mean a lot of trial and error, but if mental clarity is important to you, I think that this is something that is worth looking for. I've tried different methods for mental declutter and organization, and today I want to share with you one of the methods that I use, that I have found to be most effective lately, and that has truly impacted my life in a positive way. Mind mapping. Now, before we go ahead, I do want to mention that, as with many things in life, the system of decluttering my mind and organizing my thoughts is something that is continually evolving. This is just an introductory video to mind mapping. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you are interested and if you'd like me to make more videos on this method, then do let me know. What is mind mapping? Mind mapping is a visual form of note-taking and a simple method of organizing thoughts and ideas. It's a bit like drawing and writing combined. Mind maps look a bit like tree-shaped diagrams. They have structure, but compared to traditional linear note-taking, the structure is a lot more flexible, giving you more freedom to explore your ideas. Mind maps are great for brainstorming, analyzing, and organizing your thoughts. How mind maps help declutter the mind and organize thoughts. Before I came across mind mapping, probably like many other people, I primarily relied on writing to declutter my mind and organize my thoughts. But free flow writing has its flaws, or maybe it just wasn't best suited for what I needed it. The great thing about mind mapping is that it has similar benefits to writing or even journaling, because it is a way of recording your thoughts, except in a different, more visual or spatial way. But on top of this, mind mapping also solves the common problems associated with the traditional linear note-taking. So what are these benefits and the problems that I'm talking about then? When you externalize your thoughts and emotions, you get a sense of relief. You can see everything right in front of your eyes rather than only having a hazy notion of what's going on inside. As you write things down, it's also easier to assess the true scale of what you're dealing with. For example, have you ever thought that you had about 1 million things to do on a given day, after which you made a to-do list only to realize that there were really 3 important things that you needed to do? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Writing down important ideas or things you want to do helps with the stress of losing your thoughts, and in a way it relieves some of your cognitive load so you can focus on more important things. You've recorded your ideas, plans or to-dos, so you don't have to occupy your brain with having to remember about them. But as I mentioned, I had a couple of issues with linear writing. The first was the volume of my notes. I didn't have an effective way of recording information. I would try to note down most of what I was hearing or reading because I didn't trust my brain to be able to recall something based on a keyword, for example. As a result, I would end up with tons of scribbles where important information was mixed up with irrelevant stuff and fillers that I didn't need. The second issue, also kind of linked to the first one, was lack of clarity. Because of the volume of my notes and lack of organization and structure within them, it was difficult to decipher what I really needed to remember from my notes and how things were related to one another. For example, if I was taking minutes in a meeting, I would have actions and their owners hidden in different places across pages because I was recording information in a linear and chronological format as I was listening to it in real time. So I would then have to go back and fish for those key pieces of information and group them in one place. And as you can imagine, that's not the most effective way to work. It's frustrating, it's time consuming, off-putting, and far from clear and organized. But mind mapping solved both of those problems. How? Well, firstly, you only record the essential information on mind maps, the keywords, concepts, or ideas. This way you don't have to plow through pages of irrelevant data. It's neat, it's clear, it's easy to find what you're looking for, and it saves time. Secondly, mind maps are very structured creatures. And the best thing is that this structure that they have is flexible, which allows you to add information at any time where it fits best. For example, if again I'm taking notes in a meeting and there are some actions that I want to record at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of the meeting, I can easily track them because I have a designated space for this specific information. And then when you come back to your notes, it's very easy to use them because everything is clearly laid out in front of you, and it only takes a glance to locate the information that you need. Another thing is that because mind maps have a specific structure and work based on associations, everything you record is related in some way to other pieces of information rather than just being suspended in a void. Thanks to this, every piece of information comes with context and you can see how everything connects together. This is particularly helpful for organizing your thoughts, understanding things at a deeper level, and again, having that better clarity. And finally, one of my favorite things about mind mapping, and something that helps with mental declutter, organizing, and achieving this sense of peace and confidence, is that you can quite literally see the full picture. So mind maps are compact and they bring everything you're trying to remember or understand into one place. You're not just seeing part of the story, but that full picture. How do I apply mind maps to declutter my mind and organize my thoughts? I first started using mind maps in quite a traditional way, but now I use them for almost anything. Whenever there is something that I want to note down, analyze, understand, or simply just get clearer on, I mind map it. But let me give you some examples. Education and studying. Mind maps are great to organize new information, so I would use them for learning as an alternative to that traditional way of note-taking. I mind map when I'm listening to a TED Talk or when I attend a course or a class. I also use them when I want to summarize large quantities of information like a book or an article. Organization and planning. I use mind maps as an alternative to bulleted to-do lists or even shopping lists. I would also use mind mapping to plan a trip or a presentation or anything really that needs planning. Work. Like I said before, when I attend a meeting, I mind map it instead of taking minutes. I also often use it to explain things during meetings. Recently, I facilitated a brainstorming session for one of my clients, and guess what? I mind mapped everything we were doing on a whiteboard, which helped us all understand what were the problems that we were trying to tackle. Here, that ability to see the full picture and how everything was connected was invaluable. I also use mind mapping a lot to organize my own work. I have a few different notebooks where I record and explore different ideas for articles, for YouTube videos, for business ideas. And actually, normally when I make a video, I first mind map it to have a general idea of what I'd like to include and how I'd like to structure it. Emotional and mental clarity. Mind mapping is great for organizing the external world and the information that comes from it, but something that I've been experimenting more and more with actually quite amazing results, is applying mind maps to organize my internal world, particularly my emotions and reflections. Sometimes when I feel lost or overwhelmed, I journal because I know that's a proven method that helps with offloading pressure and dealing with your emotions in general. But oftentimes I feel like I don't want to just offload, but I also want to understand and organize my feelings and my thoughts, and I want to connect the dots. Sounds like mind mapping, right? So yes, I actually mind map to understand how I feel. To give you an example here, I would mind map the things that limit me at work, for example, or my negative beliefs and when they come from. Or when I've had an argument, I would mind map how I'm feeling and again, try and trace the source of these emotions. Anytime when I'm lost, unsure what I feel or what decision to make, I would most likely mind map it, because this method allows me to externalize what I'm feeling, but also organize it in the process and eventually see that full picture. Ultimately, this leads to better mental clarity and peace. If you would like me to dive deeper into mind mapping, let me know, because this is a really fascinating topic for me and there's so much that I would love to share, but it would really help me to know what specifically you would like to see. Also, I wanted to thank you all for being so patient and for sticking around. I've been a lot more relaxed lately with my upload schedule for many different reasons, but it's been so good for me and I feel like it's been helping me to stay curious and to stay excited about what I do here, and hopefully it also translates into the quality and the value that I bring. Another thing is that we're steadily coming up to 1,000 subscribers and the monetization stage. And like with the 500 subscribers, I would really like to mark this occasion somehow and do something together. So if you have any ideas of what we could do together or what I could do for you to say thank you, then please let me know. I would really love it if we could maybe have some kind of video group call, or I don't know how that would work, but I would really love an opportunity to meet you and say thank you in person as much as possible. I also potentially have a couple of announcements that I'd like to make, but I'll also leave it for when we reach 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!